Gang, gang.
Shout out, gang, gang. Shout
Are
out,
you re-
YouTube.
Are you ready?
I am ready, sir.
Let's go.
Street Talk Radio LA, man. We are broadcasting live, Baltimore, Maryland, via Los Angeles, California. I'm your host, Big Homie Smiles, man. You can follow me on Instagram. That's big underscore homie Smiles with a Z, man. That is my man, Been Ready. On the ones and twos, been ready like we've been ready for the justice for Makayla Bryant. Been ready like we've been ready for Camilla, Vice President Camilla Harris to start acting for her white constituents and start acting like she part of the black program, okay? On today's show, we got a wonderful show for y'all today, man. We are continuing with mental health awareness. This is Mental Health Awareness May. We are trying to make sure that we are talking about, issues that are affecting our community, especially. So, on this episode, this is part two of depression, us versus them. I want to shout out to everybody listening to the audio world. Thank you, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, all of my audio streaming platforms. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. So us versus them is self-explanatory. Us, you know what I'm saying? Us, chocolate versus them, vanilla. You know what I'm saying? The purpose of this podcast is to generate a second round of discussions on depression. This show will be solely based on us versus them, okay? And how, due to society pressures, economic disparity, and high incarceration, our community can create high functioning depression amongst our family and friends, work, and everyday life experiences. By creating a part two to this discussion, my goal is to have more people willing to talk to someone about the pressures of what they are going through, and by doing so, allowing them to get out of depression and start living their best life. Now, one of the main things that I want to reiterate constantly in this podcast is that it is nothing wrong with talking about mental health awareness. It's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I had some issues going on. I need some more focus on me, or, seeking someone who's not biased and impartial to your feelings and just letting it all out to them. Now, on our last show, we spoke about the clinical definition of depression according to some doctors in the field, and we define depression as being a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, how you act. But fortunately, for my people out there that may have some of these symptoms that I read off, it's treatable. Depression causes feelings of sadness and or loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed. So if you loved or enjoyed playing basketball, or you loved or enjoyed going to restaurants with your family and friends, and now you notice, you don't really want to do those things that really gave you, some type of feeling of emotion, you may, want to seek some help. You may be going through a little bit something. You may be on the depressed side. It can also lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems, and can decrease your ability to function at work and at home. So when you're thinking about depression, you may, stop cleaning up. For some people that have a habit of cleaning all the time, you may notice that person not cleaning up like they used to. Things begin to pile up, the dishes in the sink. You know what I'm saying? You notice that they had on them same jeans and them same shirt for 3 weeks straight, and they known to switch it up. You know what I'm saying? That person may be going through, a bout of depression. Now, on our last episode that we talked about some different type of depression symptoms, I wasn't able to go through all the symptoms. So this time I want to go over the symptoms and let y'all know what to look for in yourself and in others. So some symptoms that you may have when you're looking at depression is feeling sad or having a depressed mood, loss of interest or pleasure in activities you once enjoyed, change in appetite or weight loss. You start losing weight. You used to be, Bruce Bruce. Now you want Deuce Deuce. You know what I'm saying? It can, and that change and that weight loss can be unrelated to dieting. It's just due to you not wanting to eat, trouble sleeping, or sleeping too much. A lot of times when you're going through these symptoms, and when you're going through depression and you don't know, you start sleeping a lot more. Your body becomes a lot more fatigued, or you sleep less, or you have a very hard time sleeping at all. You have a loss of energy, like I mentioned. You have or increased fatigue, so you're feeling a lot drained. You know what I'm saying? Everything is draining. Even opening your mouth is draining. You know what I'm saying? These are symptoms that you need to pay attention to. Increase in purposeless or physical activity. That's the inability to sit still, pacing, hand wringing. For my people in the audio world that can't see me doing my hands like this, I'm not sure if y'all familiar with the movie Blow, but it was an episode in that movie where Curtis the snitch was like, I'm about to drop a dime on them niggas. And he was rubbing his hands together. That is what we call hand wringing, which means the clasping together or squeezing of one's hands, especially when distressed or worried. So if you see somebody constantly doing that, it's a possibility they may be going through something internally. They may be having some symptoms of depression. And spending money. Spending money is also a form of depression, because a lot of times when people who have the financial means, or may not even have the financial means, but just have the means to get things and are able to purchase things, they tend to do it excessively. I know for my own self, just speaking from personal experience, when I was selling cars and I was making good money too, Lord. I was making probably about 8 grand a month. And, I was going through some things internally at the time. My dad had just been diagnosed with heart failure, liver failure, you know what I'm saying, due to his diabetes. So I think that was during the time that his health began to deteriorate. And for me, the what made me feel good and what made me feel, not sad was always buying something. Like, I don't know what it was. It was just like thrill of having I because I worked like all the time. I was a workaholic when I sold cars. I worked probably like 14 hours every day. So it was just the thrill, I believe, of having boxes every other day arrive at the dealership. Like, that made me feel so good. And then when I purchased the stuff, right, then I get sad again. So I'm like, damn, why did I buy this? Why did I buy all these shoes? I'm still sad and thinking about what's going on with me and on the family side. So those are some things too to look at. Constantly purchasing things. Excuse me, some other things you need to look for is slow movements or speech. You know, a person's movements may be slow. They may be dragging, or when they're talking to you, it kind of sound like they may be on Ritalin a little bit because their words are slow. They're slowed down, or feeling worthless or guilty, or thoughts of which most people know as of depression as being death or suicide. You know what I'm saying? So those are some symptoms that we covered on our last episode. Now, when we're looking at us versus them, I want my listeners and the viewers that are looking at me on YouTube to understand that there is a big difference in when you're looking at depression within the Black community and when you're looking at depression within the white community, right? When you're looking at mental health in the white community, there are more things put in place for their society for them to get through their mental health awareness. You have doctors that are readily available, based on the white people's great insurance that most of them have. In the Black community, you don't really have those added functions to help keep people's mental health down. You don't have access to quality doctors, or quality institutions where you can go and get the help that you need. You know what I'm saying? What you do have though in our communities, in the Black communities, are accessible liquor stores. You have accessible drugs. You know what I'm saying? You have you don't have quality education. You don't have quality policing in our communities. You don't have proper trash pickup. You don't have people trying to counteract the homeless. When you going into um, white neighborhoods and white communities, you don't really see homeless that much. You don't really see drug addicts that much. You don't really see liquor stores that much. And you damn sure don't see trash in the streets. You know what I'm saying? All of those things are forms of that can contribute to a person's mental health. You know what I'm saying? When you're, and also another thing that I missed out was the restaurants and the food, the quality food. When you go into white neighborhoods, you see quality foods. You see Whole Foods. You see what's the other one? What's the other one? Whole Foods. What's the other one? Oh, dang. What's the other? It's a Whole Foods, and it's like a grocery store where you go get your food too. Um, Harris Teeter. That's what it's called. So I see endless Harris Teeters, endless Whole Foods when you going into the white communities. You know what I'm saying? But when you going into the black communities, for sure, I'ma see at least five McDonald's. I'ma see at least five Popeyes, five Burger Kings, five Taco Bells. What people don't understand is the food that you put into your body also affects your mental health. And if you're not putting quality food into your body, then you're not giving your body what it needs to function and, you know, put out positive endorphins and not negative endorphins. We also spoke on how society has become increasingly alienating, right? So, due to this COVID happening, we've had a lot of time to spend inside the house, out, and we're not, mingling with people like we used to, not mingling with people like we used to. So that has created us to separate ourselves, a lot more from people. And with the alienation, you have people like trying to find themselves or focus more on what it is that they want to do with their life. And that can cause depression, especially when you're dealing with us, when you're dealing with black people and how, we are the life of the parties. We like to go out, we like to function and mingle. And now that, you know, before was cut off, a lot of us in our communities have been suffering with a lot of these symptoms, a lot of depression and mental health issues and illnesses. We have also become increasingly isolating, you know what I'm saying? With social media and with the internet being, the wave um, in our society, we have isolated ourselves from reality, right? You have a lot of people putting their lives and everyday normal activities on Instagram all day, every day. It's like people don't even watch TV no more. It's like they watching Instagram, right? So that in itself can, for people who are watching those on Instagram and looking at the internet constantly, that can create symptoms of depression within a person because they're now looking at somebody else's life and lifestyle and thinking like, oh wow, my life wasn't shit or my life isn't shit. How am I able to, maintain? I see, people on the internet living good all day, every day. I see people living good all day, every day. What am I doing wrong? So within that also can increase depression within our society, and it can also make us insane, right? You have a lot of people that are out here trying to do the most for their friends. They're trying to create an image for themselves. That can make a person go crazy. Those are depressive symptoms. Earning a buck means like getting more degrees, and when you get more degrees, that means complying, and when you complying, that means ass kissing, and when you ass kissing, that means shit eating, and when you're shit eating, that means you have to be inauthentic, right? Because in this world, we are told that in order to function or maintain a suitable or comfortable lifestyle, you have to increase your education. And when you increase your education, that means that you are complying a lot more to the ways of society. You are now a sheep, you don't want to divert off the course, because being in in our world and our society means just being complying with the norm. It means you don't have a say so in things. Um you don't have the ability to say, I don't want to do this, because you need to eat. In order to eat, you got to comply. Sometimes you got to kiss your boss's ass. Politic. I don't like it. I hate it as well. But in this society, there's some things that we have to do, especially when we're looking at black people and trying to elevate in a blue collar world. We have to do a lot of complying, a lot of yes and no's, and you know what I'm saying, dealing with racism amongst our coworkers. Those things can cause depression in our lives, and especially with us. You know what I'm saying? That could cause depression. It's like, dang, what am I doing? Like, why do I gotta deal with Bob making racially charged jokes? You know what I'm saying? Just so that I can, you know, move up in pay or move up in a position. I gotta deal with the white people making black jokes. That's not cool. That's the society that we're living in. So many of us, especially young Americans, we try to rebel um, by what we call mental illness. So it's a lot of our young people, especially in the millennial generation and my generation, that are, not really trying to call it mental illness, but, try to, do other things like create other forms of lingo for going through something in your head mentally. But mental illness for us in our generation just seemed like you crazy. Like you say you got a mental illness, automatically somebody think that your clock stopped ticking and you don't understand what's going on in reality. But that's not the case. There's nothing wrong with mental illness, but if you want to call it mental awareness, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with saying it like that. This is the month of May, and we are, focusing on our health. I think ways that we can increase mental stability within our own culture and our own society is definitely by the things that we look at, the things that we are viewing, the type of things that we are listening to. You know, myself, as I'm getting older, you know what I'm saying? I'm starting to understand why people who are older than me don't really care for, the younger music, you know what I'm saying? This younger wave of rap music, because really, like when I really just like step back to listen to some of this shit, and I love it, I don't understand, but it does nothing for your brain cells. It does nothing for your mental health. It does nothing for your mental health awareness, you know what I'm saying? It does nothing for your mental health awareness. It actually makes you more depressed. This music, this generation of music now it makes our youth more depressed. It makes us more angry, you know what I'm saying? And although I love the music, you know what I'm saying, I can see how this type of music can generate depression and can generate and continue mental health issues within our community. You know what I'm saying? We have to be mindful of the things that we are listening to. And for my rappers and my artists out there, y'all have to be aware of the things that, you guys are putting out there too. Because I know some of the things that you guys are rapping about are just ways that you can talk about it, because those are like the shit that y'all been through is depression. You know what I'm saying? I hear a lot of depression and a lot of this music. You know what I'm saying? Me focusing on for this past episode last week, and me coming back to this episode, I'm not kidding you, honestly. Me listening to music now, I can see a lot of our artists currently, underground, industry wise, they're depressed, bro. It's a lot of artists out here like really, really depressed. Like if you stop to listen to their music, honestly, it's depressing. I went to the store. I grabbed my fofo. Seen him at the door. Bow! He on the floor. My mama died. She
Are you
oppressed.
fucking kidding me?
I couldn't get her back. Why I gotta have a mother? Or they are really talking about their everyday situations, but the stuff that a lot of these people been through, it has a lot to do with why they're probably making this type of music, and that music is depressing. So we need to find action on how we can get these rappers to not be depressed and make depressing music to increase the mental positivity in our young people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. Another thing that we gotta watch is the things that we are saying, because I know I'm feeling like I'm 80 when I say these things right now, but the TV is trash. Watching television is trash. It's nothing on TV that makes you feel positive about life. When you look at the news, especially when you're looking at the news relating to us, it's never nothing positive going on. It's never it's never like positivity. It's always some depression. In this part of the urban community, five shot, six dead. In this part of the urban community, somebody robbed a store. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nothing positive on television. In order for mental health awareness to 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 be a thing that people talk about and to help others, is that society has to has to step up with the things that they are putting out there and not just do it for a dollar. Because people nowadays are just creating TV shows, creating reality TV shows just for entertainment, not even to have a purpose for the show. Like, no offense to Jocelyn, that's my girl, I like her, but her show on Zeus, that is some depressing stuff. That is the depression TV show. That show is full of depression. Why is she having a bunch of girls on her show yelling at them and calling them all type of names? I seen this one clip on her show. She got mad at a girl because she called. The girl Jocelyn gonna say, "Oh, you coughing at me? I know you're not coughing at me," and barked on her. Barked on her for coughing, man. That's depressing. That's not the type of stuff that we need to be seeing on TV. And as women, we need to be seeing doing to each other. Like, come on, that that's those are the things that can break somebody with mental health, man. Like, what is wrong with this society? Now, when taking a look at us versus them and economic disparity, uh, that is number one. That's number one on my list of things that I feel like causes high functioning depression in our society. And when I say high functioning depression, I mean the type of depression that is not detectable amongst people, your friends, even yourself. You may not even know that you may be having this type of mental breakdown because you're high functioning. So let me just give the definition of high functioning depression, just so for my listeners in the audio world and those listening, looking at me on YouTube can have a better understanding what high functioning depression is and don't feel like I'm making up words. You know what I'm saying? So I always want to give definitions behind the things that I say. And because let me tell you also, I'm digressing a little bit. Excuse me. But when I was writing this, right, when I was writing this down for my show, the words high functioning depression just popped in my mind. I didn't see this word. God just spoke to me when I was writing. And when I was reciting my show to my woman, she told me, she was like, "Do you know what high functioning depression is?" I was like, "Actually, no." The words had came to me. I think God spoke to me. So she told me to Look it up, and it's an actual thing. So shout out to you, God. You the man, because he gave me the insight. So let me give y'all the definition of high functioning depression. So high functioning depression is a real thing. It can have serious consequences if not addressed and treated. The diagnosis for high functioning depression is officially called persistent depressive disorder, or PDD. Someone struggling with PDD experience many of the symptoms of depression, but less severely. This allows the person to be able to function mostly normally, going to work or school, performing well, keeping up with responsibilities at home, and engaging in most activities. This type of depression can be difficult to detect in oneself. So let me backtrack. When I said when taking a look at us versus them and economic disparity, that's number one on my list of things in our society that create functioning depression. So we know functioning depression is depression that allows you to function in society, in your home, do activities without, feeling drowsy, feeling fatigued, or having less interest in activities like the symptoms of depression. So PDD is similar but different. So when we think of wealth, so our society measures wealth based on an individual's family financial network. So assets create wealth. And when we're looking at assets, we're thinking about things that can serve you to create wealth, like a house, car, purchasing land, stocks. Those are all assets that create wealth. So wealth makes it easier for people to transition between jobs, move to new neighborhoods. Wealth allows parents to pay for their children's education. It enables workers to build economic sustainability in retirement. So when you're looking at wealth, you're looking at being able to work maybe 20, 25 years, 30 years in order to save money for retirement, and you live off that. But unfortunately, in our society, wealth, and not only our society, but in this country, wealth is unequally distributed by race, and particularly between white and black households, right? So black families have a fraction of wealth of white families. Even better education levels amongst us. When I say us, I mean blacks. The wealth level is still less than whites, them. A well doc and in our society, in our country, we also have a well documented history of mortgage and market discrimination, which means that blacks are significantly less likely to become homeowners than whites. Those things leads to depression. Why? If you're living in a environment or a neighborhood or a society where the wealth isn't distributed equally, you're always trying to work to meet a quota, to work to survive. You're not working to live, you're working to survive. Whereas your white counterparts, they're surviving and living at the same time because they're able to sustain a lifestyle which is comfortable to them. When you transfer that to black people have they'll have the degree, they'll have the education, and they're still making less than their white counterparts, or they're trying to purchase a home, and because mortgage rates are at like 15%, when the banks probably got the property for 6%, but they're gonna charge black people 15, 16%. You know what I'm saying? When it's like that, you're not even working to own a house, you working to make sure the banks don't take your house. And the banks are betting on you not being able to afford your mortgage every month so they can take your house. It's all a scam, it's all a scheme. Those things can lead to depression in our society. It can lead to actually high functioning depression because you have to go to a job that you don't really care for. You know what I'm saying? You dealing with people you don't like, you're dealing with a boss you don't like, but the money good. You're getting paid well. But that money that you're getting, you got to think, you kicking out 2,500 for your mortgage, you know what I'm saying, that you've been paying for 10 years. You got to kick out money. You may probably got 2, 3 kids. You got to kick out money for their activities. You got to kick out money for their education. Now you back to like being feeling like you was in a working class where your money, where you getting with this your 6-figure job is now you're not even seeing that. So that leads to depression. The data is clear. Even when I say we, I'm talking about us, pursue higher education. Like I said, to purchase a home or secure a good job, we still lag behind in terms of wealth. So if I'm uh trying to establish the American dream, and I'm thinking all I gotta do is, get good grades, graduate from high school, go to college, get a degree, possibly a master's degree. If I want to be a top echelon, a doctorate, and you're telling me that not only am I going to get hired, get a good job, but my good job, I'm still making less than my white coworker who has the same amount of experience and has the degree, the bachelor's degree like me. I'm going to be getting paid less. That's what our society is teaching us, right? That creates depression. That doesn't create a healthy mental awareness for us. So my suggestion to those who are listening to my podcast is I suggest that you go against society's rules. You do what you want to do. You live your best life. You talk to people, you know what I'm saying? You want to, if you are going through things, you have to find people that are trustworthy enough for you to put talk to, so they can, so you need a good listening ear. You know what I'm saying? Mental health just means that you need somebody that can understand what you're going through inside your head. You know what I'm saying? We Nobody can know what's going on with you if you don't talk about it, if you don't speak about it. Now, some other things that lead to depression in our society when you're looking at us versus them is the high incarceration rate. We have a high incarceration rate in the black community, especially amongst black men. Now, when you're looking at why our men, our black men, are getting locked up at a more rapid rate, you have to go back and think about what I talked to you about when we're thinking about economic disparity, when we're thinking about where you live at, what things that you're putting in your body. You have to take a look at policing. You know what I'm saying? All of those things can affect a person's mental health. And when you're not thinking properly, or you're not in the right environment, or there's not the right positive things in your environment, that can cause people to go down the wrong route and go and get locked up. But when you get locked up, you're dealing with people on the inside of those institutions that don't even really want to see a better you. They just want to see you keep coming back so they can keep getting paid. That's why we have so many rich people buying real estate and making these private jails on these properties, these huge jails, because incarcerating our black men and our black women is a business. So if we can put things in place in a society to keep them systemically down, if we can do things that to make the government, it's the government talking. If they feel like they can create things that can um, increase mental instability, you know what I'm saying? They'll do that. So they'll increase the the liquor stores in our society. They'll increase the fast food places in our neighborhoods. They'll increase drugs in our neighborhoods. They'll increase, the abandoned houses. When you go into a white society, a white culture, a white community, you're not seeing a lot of abandoned buildings around, abandoned houses. When you go into a lot of these black neighborhoods, you're seeing a lot of abandoned houses and a lot of abandoned apartments or row houses. A lot of that has to do with the mortgage fraud, and with these banks, taking people houses and charging them high and selling it low. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these things that are in place in our society and our culture can increase, us not being mentally stable. In order to change that, we have to be owners. We have to own more real estate. We have to have more people in our community, in our society, in our culture wanting to be doctors, wanting to be teachers. We need more positive people wanting to be in law enforcement, because I was one to be against, law enforcement too. But at the end of the day, we don't need a lawless society. We need a society that is maintained by order. And if we have more people, if we can change the dynamic of, these police, by putting more positive people into the police departments, and I think things can change. We need more black police, positive black police people in these white, you know, police departments. You know, we have to be able to talk to each other as black people. We have to be able to recognize within ourselves when we're not doing well mentally, and we don't have to try to. A lot of times it's some of us out here that feel like they have to do everything. You know what I'm saying? You and they don't need nobody's help. That can cause depression on somebody when, you're not seeking help, or you're not reaching out to someone, you know, for, a listening ear. Honestly, I keep saying that, a listening ear and high functioning depression, because it's a lot of people that, we deal with on a day-to-day basis that are really struggling mentally with, emotions that they may not talk about. They're really struggling with, being able to, freely talk to people. Even with our young people, we have a lot of young people that are in our society that are really going through things. Number one, a lot of them are not able to, mingle and be around other young people, other children. Then we have, this society is so internet prone. Everything's on the internet. Our young people don't even talk to the humans no more. It's everything is through the phone and through the IG. You know what I'm saying? So we really have to, as we really have this as a society, we really have to tap into our people, man, especially our young people. We really have to sit and listen. I don't think enough adults and enough people that are not in this millennial generation like really take the time to really sit and listen to young people, because sometimes all this stuff that's happening, I feel like, with the killings and the shootings and stuff like that, are just young people acting, are the after effects of the acting out, because young people don't have people to really talk to, or things in place that can, move around the mental stability. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I said that right, but we don't have things in place in our society, in our black society, that allows our youth to be able to deal with mental health issues in a proper manner. A lot of our youth look to other things, like, maybe involving themselves in street activities, or maybe they're involving themselves in groups of people, who are doing criminal activities, because that particular group said, hey, if you come be with us, we'll always take care of you and, love you and stuff like that. So I think a lot of the depression and high functioning depression and mental health awareness has a lot to do with people not having ears to listen to. So if we focus more on creating jobs within our own community, with creating banks within our own community, creating, buying land and property and creating our own neighborhoods. Honestly, I feel like we have to go back to segregation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like segregation, I feel like, depression and mental health awareness really increased in our society when we started desegregating. I'm just going to say that. You know what I'm saying? Because soon as we try to sit with the white folks and we try to sit at their table, they start cutting up even more. They start doing more. They start doing a lot and increasing the wildness of the racism. I was just looking at this movie, Them. That's what that guy Jordan Peele. Shout out to Jordan Peele, because the movie Them is definitely a reality of our society right now, and how, our white counterparts don't really want us in their society. And when we desegregated and we were allowed, what I'm saying, to buy houses in their neighborhood, they start doing more racist stuff. They increase the racism, you know what I'm saying? So when, you're dealing with racism also plays an effect on our mental health states, and depression and all of that plays a role. So when you have, I'm digressing again, but not really. But so when you have a vice president like Kamala Harris to go on national TV and say that, this country is not a racist country, but we do need to speak on the racism inside, that automatically triggered the depression in a lot of people. Automatically, because you don't make statements like that in a country, that was founded on racism. Now, and now in society, your everyday life, you know what I'm saying, you may not be experiencing racism, but I had a conversation with one of my coworkers, and it made me step back and think like, yeah, this country is definitely racist. But is it a racist country as a whole? Yes and no. Yes and no. You know what I'm saying? Yes and no. This country was, number one, founded on racism. Let's get that mental illness out the way, because I don't know why people don't think it was. It was founded on racism. They got they got they covered up the racism with desegregation, allowing black people to sit at the table with the white people. Then they put back on the racism. They covered that up with secret racism. Why? Because the racists started becoming police officers and started becoming lawyers and started becoming uh, judges. They started becoming your teachers. They started becoming doctors. So now you got a sandwich. For those of you who are listening out there, I'm making a hand gesture of a sandwich. Now you have a sandwich of racism and non-racism. So I guess Camilla Harris was a little right in what she was saying, but not really. Can't be saying stuff like that though. I think as a politician, that made me depressed a little bit, because I'm like, man, I just experienced racism the other day with a manager, so I know racism exists. But am I dealing with that on an everyday basis? Not really. So is the country racist? Nah, but yeah, nah, but yeah. That's like me saying I used to be a thief. I used to steal, but do I steal now? No. But do people still see me as a thief? Possibility. You feel what I'm saying? Is this country racist? Eh, yes. Was this country founded on racism? Yes. Do you experience racism on a daily basis? Not really. So I'm saying that to say, talk to people. You see how we talking right now? You and I, we are speaking to one another, having a conversation about mental health awareness. What I want you guys to take away from this podcast is I want you to take away being able to talk to somebody, being able to recognize symptoms of depression, understanding that depression is very different in the black community than it is in the white community. Billy will go, soon as Susan see Billy not acting right or Billy slamming doors and saying, fuck you, mom, too much, Billy goes to see the therapist. But if Jakisha and Jakisha see Daquan cutting up, it's the resources for her to see a therapist very small, very little. Number one, because it's the accessibility is not there. So we need to increase the accessibility of doctors, therapists in our community. We need more black therapists in our community. We need more people being black counselors. We need more people showing empathy. Empathy is what this world lacks. Corday said it the best on his song, Color of Dreams, Dream in Color. This world lacks empathy, man. A lot of people don't care. They don't give a hootenanny about what you're going through. They don't care about your mental. They don't care about nothing. What they care about is that almighty dollar. You gotta stop this. You gotta stop this, man. You know, so hopefully you guys took away something from my podcast. Also, I have a hotline for you guys. I want you guys to, if you guys are listening out there or looking at me, this is a depression crisis hotline. It's a text line. It's a crisis text line. So if you're in the United States, you can text home to 741741. We'll have it in the bio at the end of this podcast. So that's again, if you're in the United States, you can text home to number 741741. If you're in the UK, the number you would text is 85258. If you're in Ireland, the number is 50808. You know, we want to make sure that people across the board and across the United States are getting the help and the assistance they need. Even if you guys want to reach out to us here at Treetop Radio LA, man, make sure you subscribe and follow, or you can follow me on Instagram, big_homie smiles with a Z, or you can follow our business page, you know what I'm saying, Treetop Radio _11. We're going to wrap up the show for today, man. This has been a great show. Make sure y'all tune into our next episode, Sports for You podcast that's coming up, and No Rules podcast. Make sure y'all tune into my business page, man. That's Treetop Radio LA. We got cash prizes if you're an artist, if you're a business, if you're an entrepreneur, and you want a platform and you need looking for a little bit more, you know, avenue for listeners and stuff, follow us, man. Hit us up, man. Also, if you want to donate or give us some love donations, because ain't no nation like a donation. My cash app is the money sign Treetop Radio 87. So the money sign Treetop Radio 87. Ben, what's your Instagram name and your cash app for my wonderful people that's listening out there?
It is Ultimate Apparel. That's ALLTUHMENT Apparel with a $sign in the front. That's the cash app, and you can follow me on Instagram at The Real Ben Ready. Townhouse Media Now, at Townhouse Media Now. Follow all the
at Townhouse Media Now. Make sure y'all follow the what?
Yeah, the Instagram at Townhouse Media Now.
Townhouse Media Now. Follow that Instagram. And y'all know I don't never go a motherfucking show without saying Hello, I love you, baby. To my one and only, my true love, the love of my life, the sugar to my cherries, the chocolate on my pancakes, the strawberries on my ice cream. You know what I'm saying? I love you, baby. I appreciate you being wonderful. You know what I'm saying? You know I never go a show without saying free Simba. Free to God till he free. You know what I'm saying? He'll be coming home soon. We praying on it. We waiting on it. Because God is great and favor ain't fair. So when he home, you know the shit gonna be a celebration. And you know, shout out to everybody in my hood. Shout out to Capitol Heights, man. Shout out. Oh, I got one more thing to say. Shout out to Lundy Dior, man. She passed away a couple years ago. She got a day coming up, May 15th. It's a national DC holiday, Lundy
Rest
Day.
in peace.
RIP to Lundy Dior. Make sure y'all go stream her shit, check her shit out on Spinrella. It's entitled Lundy. She the bomb.com. She the best spitter. She shitting on all the rappers in the industry. Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, all that, man. And she not here no more. It's unfortunate, but we gonna turn up on the 15th for her, you know what I'm saying? Hey, this cute fool in the background. Oh, earlier part of that podcast, that was PYT and T Richards, Lemons. This here right now is my boy Cute Fool from Landover, you know what I'm saying? Free Lil Ma. Hey, Big Ready, we out this bitch!
They thought that the trap was a gift. I had to grind from it down, I'm still making it flip. I fell sleepy, I poured up a six. My little niggas creeping.
Yes, sir.